Hello and welcome to PA 460, and we are cruising through. I apologize, I'm a bit behind on some of the grading this week. I actually had 18 students with myself and a couple other faculty colleagues in Sacramento touring the Capitol, meeting a lot of folks and going to a lot of events. So a little bit tired and behind. My apologies. I'll get to that by the time you hear this, most of that should be done. If not, just be patient. Also, with regard to making the teams, I will be doing that Sunday, the day that you hear this. So you could be hearing this and the teams have not been set up, but don't worry, by Monday, they will all be set up in the system. So we are at module 5. And this week we have quite a few things to do. The last few weeks here in this course are pretty intense, so you have to make sure to budget your time accordingly. Not too much, but just as long as you're doing the reading and watching all the videos and making sure you're staying ahead of the assignments, that would be great. So we have the part 1, and that's economic and budgetary policy. We have the part 2, healthcare policy. And then we have a TED Talk for the discussion, and that's how economic inequality harms societies. We have the group project 1. So this is your first worksheet, and it's the problem statement worksheet, which I'll go over in just a second here. And then you have the reading quiz for chapters 7 and 8. So here we have the similar setup. And we have lots of graphs. Most of them are fairly new, some are a few years old. And then we have healthcare policy. And make sure to watch the videos because they really help with the material. And then we have our TED Talk. This is a very interesting TED Talk. Make sure to pay attention to the fact that he's talking about income inequality, not inequality in income between nations. And he makes that point fairly clear. And here's your problem statement worksheet. So this is your first assignment that you'll be doing as a group. Remember, if you decided that, or you didn't contact me or decided you would like to work alone, your group will just be you. So there's a 1-person group and that's fine. It's just the way I have to set it up within Canvas. If you'd like to work with a few others, you should have chosen it by now per last week. So if I didn't hear you're working by yourself on this. I give you 2 items for all of these worksheets. So first, there's the worksheet itself. I can open that. Actually, it's kind of slow to open. So I'll just open it here as a Word document. And this is how I want your assignment. So fill in, if it's a group members, if it's just you, just put your name and go through and answer these questions. However, before you start that, close that. Make sure to look at the example. Whoops. This is crucial because this is going to tell you how I would like the assignment to look when you hand it to me from the group. So pay attention to the small details here. It's very succinct. It doesn't get into long verbose explanations, gets right to the point. So for example, it's not just societal problem homelessness. That's too vague and too broad. In this case, it's chronic homelessness in Imperial County, California. So you're saying the type of homelessness, chronic versus just any type or acute, and where, Imperial County, California. That keeps it simple because the later assignments you will be looking, especially the last assignment, you'll be looking to how you would measure, put your policy, implement it, and how you would measure whether it's effective or efficient. So make sure to be specific. Don't use very broad topics. Think of yourself as your group that you are Imperial County. How are we going to deal with it? Or you are San Diego County, or any county, even could be municipality. And the root causes we have here. The proximate causes. Do the best you can with this. I will be grading each one of your assignments and giving them back to you with my comments. This is why I require that you do hand it in as a Word document so that I can just put my comments in it easily and send it back to you. Because you're going to want to look at my comments prior to turning in your next worksheet, because I'll have some suggestions that need to be implemented for the next worksheet. So here we have root causes, proximate causes. What will happen if nothing changes? Just a very simple question. And remember, we're thinking about the area specifically. For stakeholders, who are the primary problem stakeholders? And I say, what's their primary motivation? And so this is more in general. There's always going to be exceptions, but in general, what's more likely to be a motivator for that group? So chronic homeless persons, of course, is a stakeholder, and they want pursuit of resources, shelter, freedom, liberty, need for help. Stakeholder 2, families of chronic homeless persons, and they want to make sure that their family member is safe, has adequate mental, physical state, has job skills, could be a productive member of society. And then you get into more specifics with regard to organizations, Imperial County Health and Human Services Departments, municipal police and fire departments in Imperial County. And this is rather than going through and listing all the different municipal police departments, you can block them into one category and then include fire in that as well. And so their motivation is going to be less emergency calls requiring assistance involving chronic homeless population. Obviously, that is something that often they're not trained on how to deal with people with mental health issues, for example. Imperial County Sheriff Department and Jail. Now, yes, this is a law enforcement, but we're teasing that out because it's a little bit different. On one hand, it's similar, the less need for emergency calls, but you also have incarceration of chronic homeless population because within the county is the jail. And so they would like to not have a high population of chronic homeless population in jail. They would probably rather have them getting services elsewhere, especially if they have mental health issues. Imperial County residents, they want a healthy, prosperous, sustainable community. Imperial County business and real estate, possibly a bit different motivation. They want less loitering. They don't want to deal with vagrancy issues, crime, etc. Imperial County hospitals and clinics, they want less emergency health situations that could be avoided related to chronic homelessness. And then here, I just kind of threw things together, local, state, national homeless advocacy programs. So they want to help the chronically homeless to receive shelter, get mental health help, and if possible, job skills necessary to become productive members of society. If you want to get more specific with these groups, because there are specific groups that deal with this, please do. And that always makes it look good. But you don't have to. It just would, it does help your grade, I'm not gonna lie. So what market failures are associated with the problem? And we have inequitable market failures. We have information failures and negative externalities. And you have the list I include with the template as well, so you can go through and see what fits. You could even expand it. You could say public goods issue. People are scared to go to the park because they don't feel safe. There's a lot of different ones you could have there as well. But try to find the primary market failures associated with the societal problem. Okay, so let's go back. And then you have your reading quiz for chapters 7 and 8. That's the same as you've been doing. If you have any questions with regard to the problem statement worksheet, feel free to send me an email and I'll try to get back to you quickly. And again, if I haven't graded your exam essay questions and your discussions by Sunday, I apologize, I've been out of town, but I should have that all wrapped up by Monday. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and best of luck on your assignments. Excited to see what problem statements you come up with, and eventually what type of policy solutions you and your group, even if it's a group of one, come up with.